Oh, it looks like we're live. There we are. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday to you, Nicole. How
Happy
are you?
Sunday. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Okay, so I have a confession. This series has been going all year,
Hmm.
and your interview is is literally like it's been the madness of everything that's going on in my life. So every now and then it's like, okay, I need to do this. I need to get the word out. I need to get the word out. Your
Uh-huh.
interview, I've been very intentional about marketing. And so I'm really hoping that, we have a nice audience joining us today because this is an important conversation.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you reaching out to me and asking me to go live with you to talk about my book series.
Yeah, yeah, because I've been, I'm always because I have my hand in so much and then,
Hmm.
I work a day job.
Hmm.
Um, Whereas, I just want to read to kids for the rest of my life. If I could do that.
Me
But I
too.
but I have a day job. So it's like I get so, wrapped up. But
Hmm.
I've been seeing your messages about campaigns and the release of the second book. I read Sister Girl and Her Training Wheels like years ago. And
Yes, I appreciate that. 'Cause I did see online where you had did, I think, a workshop
I
with the book.
did. I
And I
did.
really appreciate that. I did see it. I did see it. It blew my mind because sometimes I see things where I didn't know, like someone read the book to kids and they did a video. So I did find that video maybe a year or two ago. Yes.
It was a while ago. So
Hmm.
fast forward for those who are just joining us, welcome. See how we just get into it. It's just like conversational. It's what I do. But Imagine Read has been around for some time. We've talked about our history, but one of the things that I am committed to doing is making sure that our communities have, and especially our children, culturally responsive literacy development instruction. And I
Hmm.
do that with centering books that feature characters that look like them. So
Yes.
when you sent me Sister Girl, and this is again the bad part of the work that I do, because I rarely double back and say, oh, Nicole, I did this, or because it just moves so fast. But I always, and when I say always, like right now, I have crates of books that I'm actually catching up on so that I can pair it with programming and
Hmm.
get word back to the publishers who send, to the authors that send, because it's how I'm able to teach.
Hmm.
And I did a program with Sister Girl. It was more than 2 or 3 years ago. You got to think it had to have been at least 4 or 5. When did it come out? When did Sister Girl and Training Rules come out? And Her Training
No,
Rules come out?
November of 2016. And I know you was one of the first people to really
That got
support
it.
me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then it had to have been that long ago, maybe 2017.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but back then, and still now, I loved it. So watching, all of the things that's been happening, like, okay, so the series is a thing, and
Hmm.
why this series is a thing was one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you today and find out, what's going on with Sister Girl.
Thank you so much. Yeah, since I started writing in the end of 2016, so much stuff has occurred. I had a couple of speaking engagements, and then last year, even though COVID and everything, it actually was a really good year, and we was able to work with I Fund Women. And I Fund Women
Nice.
actually, I got received a couple of grants, and with American Express, and it's really helped me to like move Sister Girl along. Currently, right now, I'm working on a third book, Sister Girl and the Family Dinner, and that's a book to encourage kids to be more to work to do outside things. So Sister Girl's going to grow a garden, and they're going to have a dinner at the end of the book. And so my goal with Sister Girl the whole time is just to empower children to believe in themselves and to believe in their creative abilities. And the second book in the series, Sister Girl in a New Dress, she learns how to sew with her mom. So I wanted to show kids learning how it's okay to be creative. It's okay to decide you want to see something new in the world and feel comfortable with bringing it to the world. And I think that's something that we have to, make sure the kids understand that at a young age, that they can create new things.
Totally. I mean, I love how, and again, I'm going back to Training Wheels. I love how
Hmm.
number one, and she had this idea, right? Sister Girl had this idea, like, oh, I think I want to do that. And then, she's talking to her dad about it, and her dad is like, okay, well, let's see if you got what it takes. And how she eventually, she gets there. But there's so much symbolism in that book, the riding of a bike, the freedom there, right? The
Yes,
coming
yes.
of age, this rites of passage, if you will, and becoming independent, believing in yourself, right? I'm hearing you say the same thing with, a new dress. It's the resourcefulness, right? Like, okay, so these skills that are not so much as gender specific, if you will, but just things that you should want to know how to know, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Growing a
yes,
garden and being able to eat off of it, like that's self-sustaining, right? So
yes.
I love that. I really, really do. How much would you say that your background, and I talked about this intently during the marketing, how much would you say your background in child psychology contributed to the series development?
Okay, well, when I studied child psychology, it helped me realize that children at a young age, their personalities are developed, like around the age of 7. And also, I wanted to write books for children as well because sometimes adults don't realize that children, they have thoughts, they have how they feel, what they believe in. And sometimes I know just growing up, everyone didn't answer you questions. It was always, talking to the child. But now I want to share the thing of we actually instant engaging, trying to understand the person because it's a whole process that the child's going through. You're going through different stages, different age groups, and you just have to. I want adults to realize that children do have feelings. They do have things that they go through, and if they don't deal with them at a young age, they deal with them later on in life. So now, my thing is just to encourage kids just to believe in themselves because confidence and all of those things come at a young age and blossom into adulthood as well. So I'm trying to encourage them to believe in themselves and know that they can be creative. They can come up with an idea. Like a sister girl in the training wheel, she decided she wanted to learn how to ride a bike, and she told her dad. And in the book, I wanted to show support, and I also just wanted to also show positive family dynamics. Because
Totally.
sometimes there's a I wouldn't say stereotype, but sometimes people say their fathers are not in the household, and it is fathers in the household. And then
Right.
I wanted to show just positive family dynamics because kids also need to see themselves in the books that they read. So I want a little girl to pick up a book and say, "Oh my gosh, that looks like me," or "She looks like me," and that's the best part of it. When we was before COVID and everything, we was going out and in the community and giving books out or selling books or going to different markets and things like that, and going to different schools. That was the best part of it when kids would look at the book and say, "Oh my gosh, that's me, mommy. She looks like me," and that's the goal right there.
Yeah, that self-esteem and awareness and confidence, it's all wrapped into this concept of a new whole child, especially from a culturally responsive perspective.
Hmm.
Also love that you are seeking to really illustrate and highlight that because you said something, a mouthful. You're like, okay, so if this isn't addressed, if there isn't a constant need for inquiry, right, or a safe space where
Hmm.
children can ask questions, then
Hmm.
they grow up not knowing. And
Hmm.
I know, Nicole, we got enough adults out here that's dysfunctional. And not
Hmm.
to say that we're not all delusional. That's not what I'm saying. We all come with the human stuff.
Hmm.
But it's important, and I want to talk about this for a minute because you started it off. You said before COVID. I want to talk about the impact of COVID because what we're seeing is hyper, you know, some of these traumas that were already present, like they're even more so a thing now because of these new sensibilities, right? And this ongoing conversation around mental health and physical health and what that all means. But bigger than all of that is for our children because they've had to adjust the most. And
Hmm.
it's this situation, it's new to us, but it's definitely new to them.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I want to talk to you about like some of the feedback that you've received throughout COVID, throughout your campaigning for, this increased self-awareness and self-confidence with children and with the series and this family dynamic, because it's very important. Like, what have you seen and heard since COVID?
Oh, I would say primarily parents were saying they wanted to keep the kids engaged.
Yeah.
And sometimes the learning process had became a chore because of, say, the parent had to work outside the home, or making sure the kid was doing their work because they was at home by themselves, and maybe they was not doing their classwork, like maybe not logging in. So my thing was to encourage people just to make sure that they incorporate reading and into not making it a chore, but something fun. And that's where the books come in. And also my inspirational coloring book is just to keep them engaged. And sometimes I can remember as being a child, it was certain things like I like the show Ghost Rider, or things like that that made you were still reading, you were still being engaged, but it was a learning atmosphere. So I just taught, when parents talk to me about it, I just let them know to keep it as engaging as possible and not as a chore. Because sometimes when kids feel like something's a chore, they kind of pull away from it. And I think that's why we need to have, like, I'm excited when I see different authors and different people come out with different books and everything, because the goal is literacy, making sure children are not illiterate, and
Right.
making sure. But and one thing I realized, and this is maybe something I usually don't talk about, but is feeling like I should share it. I'm realizing a problem in a lot of areas is not just the children not having good literacy, is because it's generational illiteracy. So it's where, say, maybe a parent or whoever they live with, maybe not the best reader, or they might not been good at writing, and so it's kind of passed down. And that's something that we need to, work on. As how can we incorporate? What can we do to help and make sure that literacy is at the top of the top of the charts, and they're not just sitting there with iPads and watching cartoons all day, but at least doing something that's engaging and
Right.
helping them to build their brain and just make better learning decisions.
Totally. I mean, I'm piggybacking off of Irie's comment. Hi, Irie. Thank you for joining us. Love that the Sister Girl collection empowers and encourages young children to be courageous, creative, and live productive lives. It's funny it's not really funny. It's not funny at all, Nicole. But
Mm-hmm.
when I launched my community-based participatory research many years ago, same thing. I started off as an author. I wrote my first children's book, It's Watertime Ma. I had the same response. Oh my God, that little boy looks like me. I had parents come up to me afterwards like, oh my God, my children actually drink water now. Like I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
fuss with them. So it was a whole author, fame moment, but it was really personal because it was like, yeah, this is what this is all about, right? If you're
Mm-hmm.
writing books, you have to rear a community of readers. Otherwise, the whole point of writing is moot,
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you talked about this because that too is what I saw and heard during that community project. Parents
Mm-hmm.
who were ashamed and felt really guilty that they weren't able to engage their children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And my primary response to that is, yeah, none of us come here with all the answers. The mere fact
No,
that you've admitted that you're open to learning is the first step. So now
exactly.
it's just supporting you and the child. And this speaks to why community is so important. I will beat this horse. I don't like to beat animals, but I will beat that horse till I can't anymore. Community is
Mm-hmm.
important.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, it just doesn't make sense to not have a community that can support everybody, the entire family. And so that
Mm-hmm.
it's reciprocal. So I love that you are getting some of that same response in the community. Like, well, we don't do this because I didn't do it and I don't know how. Because
Mm-hmm.
that means people are, again, waking up to thinking about learning and engagement differently. And
Mm-hmm.
it gives us more intel into how to support families and young readers, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So I love that. What were you going to
Yeah.
say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just agreeing with you. Yes, that's the whole goal with the Sister Girl collection. It's not just to write the books and put them out there, but I was so excited that about a year and a half ago I was able to. It was Durham County. Yes, Durham County. Shout out to Durham County. They had requested some of our books, and it was so exciting because they put the books into like laundromats in Durham County, and they put the books in like in the social service buildings and things of that nature. And then like when the school systems request the books, and they had read-alongs with the kids in the classroom. So that's just very exciting because you're building community. It's not just about having the books. It's not just about selling the books. It's about seeing how it's going to make an impact. And just if one child want to pick up the book and read it, or play with the coloring book, or color in the coloring book and learn some inspirational lessons, that's the whole goal. Is just to bring the community together and just let everybody know that reading is essential.
Totally. I love that. I didn't realize. So you're in North Carolina, my favorite state.
Yes.
It's my new favorite state.
Why? Why? Tell me.
My gosh. So, and Khalila's not here. So my assistant Khalila, she did text me earlier and was like, "Hey, is me the author today? Do you need me?" And I said, "No, I don't think I need you." Now I wish she was here. So I went to go visit. I'd never visited, and I just heard North Carolina was absolutely beautiful, right? So last year, in the middle of COVID, when everybody thought I was just cray, I just went on a road trip, and I went to Charlotte first. Then I went to Kannapolis. Then I went to Fletcher and Asheville. And because at the time I was still in herbalism school, I learned about some of the history of Black herbalists in Asheville. But overall, it's just they were just beautiful cities. Like the nature, the way, people moved. It was just beautiful to me. So I have my shopping bag that I use. It says North Carolina on it. And I told it as often as possible, hoping I'm going to live there one day.
Yes. North Carolina is very beautiful. The state is very diverse. From Charlotte to the area I grew up is all the way east of Charlotte, in eastern North Carolina, Halifax County. And Charlotte is really nice, and Asheville is very peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very peaceful, like close to the mountains and everything. I went to the mountains last year around September, October. Everybody was just trying to get out the house. So we did. We went to Cherokee, North Carolina was really nice too. Not too far from Asheville.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to check that out. But I've never Durham and understand like the counties. I don't have that much intel. So help me understand like what the struggles are with the educational districts.
Well, I would say Durham County is one of the up and coming, like I really like Durham because it has a lot of history. That's where Black Wall Street was, close to Paris Street in Durham. So they just welcomed me with open arms. It's so funny when I talk about North Carolina because I was born in New York, but I grew up in Halifax, North Carolina, which is all the way east. And when I was in high school, I went to Atlanta so much. I went to college at Clark Atlanta, but it was so funny because I said, if I spent more time, I might have went to school in Durham because I just love Durham. I love CAU. I love CAU. I love my
look. That's all I can say.
Yes, I love it. That's my heart. I love my HBCU, but I do know that Durham is really nice. I really can say that. I really like the feel, the energy, and I would say that the education of everything. Well, I haven't been in school since I graduated from high school 2001. And this makes my 20th year, so it tickles me.
Okay, so I'm older than you. That's a good thing. Okay.
No, but it's funny because like I just thinking back, like when I graduated from high school, and just thinking now, 20 years later. It's like, wow, so much has happened.
I know.
But I can say that they're trying to really be there for the kids. And I really think that North Carolina is trying to really be impactful. I know that teachers, still working on trying to get better pay and stuff like that. And but I know
it's a teaching state from what I understand.
Education is very important.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, so now I have a little bit more insight. I'm gonna have to come to Durham next. I'm telling you, I'm gonna live there. I don't care what nobody says.
I really like Durham. Shout out to Durham. They really was really nice. Good.
Yeah, and the fact that the city, you had those entities reach out and say, "Hey, can we place the book?" This is also how we expand awareness, right? Now I have to ask you, like for the authors that may be watching, Irie, I'm not sure who else. I see some viewers on the ticker, but I have to ask you, Did you use your psychologist background to get those books placed, or did you just show up as an author and say, hey, this is available, I think this might be a good fit?
I really, when I with my book, I just show up as Nicole,
Yeah.
and really it was more of, we just kind of made before. It was so funny because the end of 2019, I was working a regular 9 to 5, and then I was in about May of 2019. I just went full time with my books. So me and some family members, we really create our own street team.
Yeah.
And we went out and we were just talking to people about the books. We went to different flea markets. We went to just a whole, just, we just was on, sometimes we just went to different cities and was like, let's let people know about Sister Girl. So yeah, and then what happens is you meet people along the way. So you have to be open to meeting people and talking to people about the books. So that kind of pushed me in another gear to just do something a little different. So it's more, we kind of put our pedal to the metal and
grassroots.
And yes, it was very grassroots. And I firmly believe in that because you can have social media. That's cool. We have to do it because the world we live in right now.
Right.
And building email lists is really cool. A good thing to do is a part of the marketing. But it really just getting out there, going to the counties, talking to county, trying to become a county vendor, and talking to different school systems and sitting down with superintendents and things of that nature. That's really what gets your book into the different communities, into the different areas.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. So we slowed down January of 2020. Yes, we wasn't able to do that, but I would say 2019, the end of 2019, the last 6 months, that was the goal. We really got out there and really just met people where they was at and just let them know about the book. And that really helped. And I would say doing stuff like that, grow your community and grow your social media. And just, you realize you can see the impact a little bit more too. Because say your book is on your website, people buy your book, they may post it and tag you, say, hey, thanks, Nicole. I really appreciate all of that as well. But when you really go into community and they're talking to you and they're saying to you, this book is making a difference in my child's life, then that's exciting. Also, just the reading events, like before, I would say my last reading event in person was maybe February 2020. I went to KIP, the local KIP in Halifax County, and my county is KIP ENC. And it was just such a good event because I was able to go into the classroom with the kids, sit down on the floor, and they all crowd around and we read the book and they talk to you and they answer you questions. And that was the last event. It was so crazy because we was planning like to do events at other KIP elementary schools.
Yeah.
And like back to back to back. And then it was 3 weeks later, like March 15th. It was like, nope.
Yeah.
So, but I do appreciate all that. And it'll be, whenever we can get back to that, that'll be fine. But just to see the impact, that's what's so important, just to see how the interaction, to see the kids light up and see the story and talk to you about the books and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's one of the things that I too loved in all my years outside of even teaching. Like the meet the author and the author visits were like, they were my thing. And, you have to think, let's see, I released this Water Time Mod 2011. So at this time, it wasn't like the whole indie author scene wasn't like huge for Black writers. Like, I mean, they were there, but it was like you didn't really know about each other, and it was emerging. And the thing that I loved getting back from the kids was the excitement, but also the awe, because it was more. They felt like it was like this wild thing, and I'm like, no, I'm an author, and you can be too. So it was more of inspiring them. To dream new heights, right? Like, no, there's all I did was, tell my story. You too have a story. So it was that kind of engagement that I really enjoyed. And like you said, just talking now, so much so that I joke. Anybody that knows me knows. And when I say I joke at work with my family, I say this all the time. I love children. Adults, children. Give me the baby. For that reason, because they,
Mm-hmm.
they aren't as conditioned. They're open minded. They're willing to explore and discover.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they tell you the truth.
Yes, yes,
Like
yeah.
that book sucks or that book was great. And you want that because that is your target audience,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So it's wonderful. So I totally I second that sentiment. It's totally like the experience to have, especially if you can do it over and over. I too am hoping that things open back up so that everybody can safely engage with author visits again.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's virtual, and we find a really good way to, keep the engagement and the conversations going that way. I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
forward. I'm looking forward to that. So tell me about you talked about I'm Fun Women, which I have a girlfriend doing something similar. I'm thinking about it myself. Tell me about, your experience with crowdfunding and again, some of the comments you heard from not just the funding side, but your general audience in marketing. Like what was the response to, raising funds?
That's a good question. I would say I've done I've done a couple of crowdfunding.
Okay.
Initially, when I first started, I think my second book I did Kickstarter.
Yeah, I remember that one. Mm-hmm.
I think that's how we found each other,
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Maybe. And it's a learning experience. I've learned with that you have to really build community. You have to really put yourself out there, and you have to build a strong email list. And because at the time I was kind of fairly new to writing books and new to sharing myself online, and I had to realize that I had to be open. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're just so, this is my baby, and I wrote it, but no. So I had to really get out there and let people know about it. So the
Okay.
Kickstarter, that was
Can I talk to Miss Nicole now? No. Really? Be the kid. No, I'm not going. Baby, come on. She's telling me a good story.
no, it's fine. Hey, how are you?
He can't hear you because I
Okay,
have
okay.
the headphones on. Okay, Mama will be there in a second. This the baby.
Aw.
He's really my shadow.
That's fine. So Kickstarter, that was a good learning experience. And then last year I got in how, when I was home and I just decided to look into I Fund Women, and there was a really good opportunity. I received a Caress grant from them, and then they told me to crowdfund on their platform. So that was a great experience, and I would say that they're really working hard to help women
Yeah.
and to find money and to find funding and to be able to share their whatever they create with the world. And that's through them. I applied to the American Express grant, is the 100 for 100 Black women program. And so they did 100 days of information. We learned a lot. We built community, and it was a great grant. It was a $25,000 grant and I was able to use that for my business to build it up some more. I'm creating a sister girl doll, so that's one of the
Nice.
things I'm working on. My sister girl doll.
Okay, wait. I gotta know. Will she have a bike?
Well, the one that I'm working on, I know I have a couple of prototypes. So
Okay.
the one I have now is a plush doll.
Okay.
So I want to get one that you can probably like braid her hair and stuff like that. But right now it's a plush doll. So I haven't brought it out just yet because I'm still trying to work on the prototypes. But yeah, I would say I Fund Women is a great opportunity, and I would recommend anybody that's thinking about raising funds for their business, whatever the idea is. You do not have to be an author. It was a lot of women that did different things. It was a lady that had created a women's football. One lady created hair products, a gym, a memberships. One lady have a math box that she sends out to kids. It's like a subscription box. So it was a great thing to empower women and just to build community. And I would just say that it's not, I wouldn't never say anything is easy, but with anything that you want to do, it's
Yeah.
about doing the research and applying. Because I know, like, at one point, I used to, this is something I'm just sharing because maybe someone that's watching could, understand or dealt with it. I would see I would say like maybe 10, 15 years ago, if I saw, say somebody was having a grant or some type of program, I would hesitate to apply. I would
Yeah.
say, so many people applying,
Am I
I'm
going to
gonna do
get
this.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this
Yeah.
whole application.
Yeah.
It's just go in the pile, but that's no need for negative thinking. So I got to the point that I'm just like, you know what? I'm applying, come or go, whatever. Let's see what happened. And I
Right.
just amazed myself last year at the amount of just stepping out there. That's one thing as an author, as anybody that's an entrepreneur, you have to really allow yourself to step out there, get out of your comfort zone. Even now, like coming on the live for like 15 minutes before the live, I'm like, oh gosh, what top I'm gonna put on, what I'm gonna do. just extra. That's the stuff that go through your mind, even as
It
a writer.
does.
Even as writing, talking to different people that want to write their own books and stuff like that. They're like, well, I don't know what people are going to think about it. No, just do it. Everybody
Yeah.
has a voice, and it's time to, I think what I'm so excited about, because I feel like people are just stepping out on faith and coming out of their comfort zones and just being who you are. Because if you share your story, you'd be amazed. Someone else out there is like, you know what? Oh my gosh, I felt the same way, or I was hesitating, but just you telling me about the fact that you wrote a book, like, and that's the wow, amazing thing about becoming an author. Because even like how children get so excited to see you, adults are the same way. You're like, oh my gosh, I have a book I've been working on for the last 5 or 6 years. I have this idea. Um, I always tell them, start.
Totally.
Just start. Is
Totally.
the thing is to start in anything, in crowdfunding and writing books and applying for grants. It's just to start.
Yeah. It really is. There's a massive need for more inspiration. And this is why it's so important, like you said, to tell our stories. We know that literacy and storytelling is the tool that brings us together, because we often feel like, we're all alone in whatever situation. And there's a need to fret and we have to overthink, when honestly we don't. It's just do it. Like you said, just take one step. So I love that you did that, and you funded, you got funding, you got grants. Like, that's phenomenal, because we've seen a lot of money circulating in the last, through COVID and with business development and all this stimulus, and more of it to come. So I commend you on,
Thank you.
saying, I'm going to get it and getting it. That's what's up.
Yes,
That's what's up.
I would recommend too. Anybody that's thinking about applying for grants or anything, make sure you do your. This is another thing I'd like to add, if it's okay.
Sure.
Just remember, when you become an author, when you're writing, you're not just an author. You're creating a business. So
Yeah.
if you make sure you create your business plan, where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Because when you create your business plan, then when a grant or an opportunity comes up, you have your mission statement, you have everything already in place. So then you can just say, okay, this is what our company stands for. So when someone asks you for your picture, what's your idea, you have all your information, so you can let people know about your product or your service. So that's just something
Totally.
I wanted to share.
No, it's very important. When we talk about lean startup, because right now the world of startups is really, quick, adaptive, and it's go for it. But when we're talking about that, gone are the days that we have to have this long, elaborate 10-page document, even though that may be good to secure funding. It could just be that you start with a 1-page, where it's comprehensive enough for you to get moving and to get in the habit of organizing and making money, right?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. It's crazy because I remember when I first started out, I was fortunate to work with a business development coach, that I still work with, you know, on different concepts and ideas and projects. We've done a lot together, but I see how far I've come in the business development world because it's work. It's work.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have, you know, your stuff in order, but it does help you, like you said, in the long run, because you're not just willy nilly, and it's organized, it's calibrated, it's strategic, and you just checking off those. Okay, I did that. You know, I did that. So it really does help. And more so, you know, I haven't released this yet. There's a good friend that I've been talking to about a new series that we're going to piggyback. You know how back in the day you had the Jeffersons, and it was a spinoff of, you know, all, you know, what was the
227?
Yeah. So, you know, you have spinoffs. So we're going to have a spinoff of this series that's coming in the fall. And I was telling her about the need for an expanded view of the entire publishing company, you know, the publishing industry. Because again, what we're thinking about here is, oh, it's, you know, literacy and writing these books and encouraging authors to do it. But again, we also have to make sure that we're organized and that we're raising readers to be able to see the need to continue to buy print books, to continue to balance, you know, ebooks, audiobooks. So it's a very inclusive conversation. But I love that you said, wait, let me say this, you know, make sure you have this, because sometimes we can be like really excited about an idea, but making the idea practical and applying it in a way that actually, you know, makes sense as a business can be a struggle. So I love that you said that.
Yes. Being a creative anyway, sometimes you may come off as being not practical. So
Yeah, totally.
I can't say that I'm always practical. Like, I know I have worked with a coach, my sister, and different people would talk to me like, Nicole, you love to create stuff. Let's make sure we market it and doing sales. She always check me.
Yeah.
So yes. So that's just a whole part of it. So that's why I brought it in, because when you just talking to fellow creative people, we sometimes just get caught up in we're going to create the book and we want to create the stories and we want to, you know, it's perfect. That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Let the creative energy flow. But then you still have to remember that you become the business. You are a business.
Yeah, you're going somewhere with this.
You're going somewhere.
Yeah, you have to materialize it. And again, I love that, because it's me too. Again, that's been my journey, my entrepreneurial journey. Like, oh, I got a billion ideas. It's making them concrete and materializing them so that they make sense and they fill a need, you know? It's actually how Imagery morphed from this whole just writing books and family engagement into this community literacy platform where now it's, you know, language literacy and communications. So
wow.
Yeah. We have some big things in store, which is why we're, you know, having the conversation about I'm Fun Women. You know, it's time to grow. Everything that, like you said, you have to do the marketing, but the grassroots stuff and the street team stuff, that's what I've been dedicated to for years. And again, I'm not great at always being consistent and posting and look what we did, because we do the work, you know?
Yes. But and a lot of
go ahead.
No, a lot of stuff is not going to be posted. Everything that you do is no way to post everything. It's more just, at the end of the day, it's just knowing you did what you're supposed to do. And that's what the thing is. Just like everything is not going to be on social media. Everything is not going to be on Instagram, Facebook. Everybody is not going to give you 500 likes for it. But knowing that you actually doing the work, knowing that you actually go into the schools, knowing that, like, with your organization, I was just so excited that you have reached back out to me to come and speak to you. I hear echo. Is it me?
No, I don't hear it.
Okay, so maybe just me. But I was so happy that you wanted me to come out and speak to you, because I saw that your organization was still making impact, and that's what's so good to see, that you was still, from when we met, or even though we met in the internet streets,
East Street,
in the internet streets, it's still, though, I'm happy to see that from back 4 years ago to now that you're still making your impact, you're still working with your organization. So I was so excited 'cause I know your logo. So when I know that you was one of the first people to share my book, so I was just like, oh my God, that is her. So
Yes.
see that's what's important right there is the continuation. Even though it may seem like you may have not, you say may sometimes you don't feel like it's always continuing, you still doing it. It may
Yeah.
not be as much as you feel like you should be, but just the fact that I remember from 4 years ago to now, you still on track. And it I don't think you realize how much I was excited. I don't think I should have sent you an email when I was online one day, and I was online, and sometimes I see things that I didn't even know, like, but I saw you teaching that class about Sister Girl and the training wheels. I remember you answered the question. I think you answered the children about how did they feel about Sister Girl and
Yeah.
about her learning how to ride the bike. And I was like, oh my gosh, people are really picking the book up and
Supporting
teaching
you.
lessons.
Yeah.
And yes, I really, I sincerely appreciate that. And I remember one day I saw something else online where a lady, she did like a worksheet package. And it was like she took different things you learned from the book, different messages, and had it for the kids. I was like, see that's right there. So it's like making your impact. So
Yeah. No, I mean, and this is why, again, the doing the work and converging the, announcements and getting the word out, it is a balancing act. And it's more, it has a lot to do with the business side of it, right? The organization. Like, my assistant, she really does. She's like, Tiff, we need to do this. We need to do that. And I'm like, okay, I need, more of me. But I've always been one to focus on, like you said, making impact and making sure that that impact is meaningful. So I know that, again, part of the illiteracy issue where it regards our children, Black and brown children, and those who may be traumatized, marginalized, disenfranchised, struggle with reading, albeit, just dysfunction or dyslexia. I know for a fact, I have proof of concept at this point. I've been doing this for years, that a majority of the reason why is because they don't have culturally responsive materials to refer to. So way back then, outside of me being an author, it was, okay, so if I am going to, like you said, intently make this fun, if I'm going to make this engaging, then I have to create conversation and dialogue around everyday things. Like, do you know how to ride a bike? Again, the symbolism in riding a bike, the freedom in it all, right? The independence in it all, the actual learning and believing in yourself, the confidence. You'd be amazed at the responses that you get from kids. I don't know how to ride a bike. I have no interest in learning how to ride a bike. Or I love to ride a bike. Like, I've been riding a bike for this long. Like, you start seeing the input culturally, and you get that it clicks, right? Because it's something that they relate to. And relative and adaptive literacy development is the way that we teach. Like, it's the way that our children will learn. So you'd be surprised, again, your book, tons of authors. Again, you send it to me, and I may not tell you like, hey, I did this with your book, but it's the same thing. Like, I'm developing activities, I'm doing lessons, just like, the other woman did. And I think that's like one of the best ways to support each other and to like inspire authors to like, hey, this was a hit. Keep writing, like make this a series, because I love Sister Girl. I love her.
Much.
So with that being, we got a few minutes here to go.
Okay.
Tell me what you think. I mean, and this is open-ended. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just, your opinion from a psychological perspective. What are the things that you believe that we have to start doing in the community, right? It's not one person, not just the author, not just the reader, not just families, but in the community, to bridge this gap that COVID has expanded. Like, what do you believe we need to start to do to get us back together? Because there was already a gap before COVID, but COVID just, widened it, right? What do you think we need to do to fix these educational issues?
Honestly, I really feel kind of sum this up. Okay, because I was having a conversation about this topic about a couple of weeks ago, and I firmly believe a lot of things that happen in our community is, sometimes we're very reactive
Yeah,
as
totally.
people, and I
Totally.
could say myself, that's something I'm working on just as a person, not being so reactive, but being proactive.
Well, but we were active for a reason, and we'll talk about that. We were active for a reason. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. We are. We
Yeah.
are. It's
Yeah.
it's an embed
It's
thing of
systemic. Yeah.
yes, being
Yeah.
reactive. And I feel like a lot of issues that we face as people, our children face, our families face, is is symptoms of other things. So say like mental health, and say if someone has an issue in their mental health, it could be a array of issues in mental health. Just say that that can expand into their physical health. That can expand
Right.
into how they treat their family. That can expand to how they treat their children. And then say if someone, say if, just for example, say if a set of parents have a mental health issue and they don't get it resolved, and then it's trickle down. So say if they are not able to do certain things for the kids, or they don't treat the child a certain way or anything, it trickles down. And then sometimes we see abuse, drug abuse, different types of things in our communities. And we're like, well, where is this coming from? Are we seeing people get in trouble? Where is it coming from? A lot of things are mental health issues. Or say, even when it comes to literacy, say if like a child having going to school and they're getting in trouble in school, and you're like, why can't Johnny sit down and pay attention? And maybe the child is having reading issues and they're a little scared to read in class, so then they start acting up in class so they don't have to read when it's their turn to read.
Mm-hmm.
So is the gaps, and we're going, as a community, we're going to have to figure out a way to how can we help each other to fill the gaps. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm excited. I am very excited though. I feel like people are talking about mental health a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
and since we're
Totally.
talking about it, it's not a stigma. No, was it never should have been a stigma, but I get it, of people going to counseling or people getting help. And I'm just excited now that we're being more mindful and we're talking about it, because yes, it's people out there that have the best jobs, make good money, and it's not always just because someone don't have money that they deal with mental issues. It's people that they're well put together, and you're like, why did that person do that, or why did that person, suicide is an issue too.
Right.
So we have to just be mindful, and I'm just glad that we're talking about it,
Yeah.
and I feel the thing is about just being supportive of each other. So
Yeah.
it's just being supportive, and I think COVID was I guess sometimes people say a gift and a curse about
Yeah.
different things. So I
Totally.
feel like it allowed some people to be home with their families, and I think we now, if as a collective, you value more time you can spend with each other. Um, you value being able to travel and do certain things. So I feel like it is helping people to come back together. And what you probably took for granted, you're not taking for granted anymore.
Right.
I just feel like as a community, we just like doing different things like this and talking about different subjects, and just knowing that people can get help. And it's not just about mental health, it's about also, this is something I wanted to share, like just
Yeah.
reminding people that learning starts at home. That's something my dad used to say a lot when I was a kid. Learning starts at home. And I didn't understand that, but it would be hard for a child to probably go into kindergarten or whatever and learn how to read or be a proficient reader if like they just didn't even learn the colors at home, or they didn't learn
Right.
numbers. Like we had to, its impact is everywhere. So I guess families got to work with the teachers and everything like that. So I think everyone is trying their best to just get together, and it's tough because now imagine being at home all year and kids going back to school. They're probably gonna be excited just to see their friends and to
Yeah.
be able to interact and not home
Mm-hmm.
with their siblings all the time. So I think we just gonna have to have grace for each other too. Like,
Totally.
just have some grace and say, we got to acclimate. Because even as adults, like I hear different people say, I was at home, you working from home, you ordering food, you Instacart in everything. You don't have to leave the house. So now people have to get back.
And you get comfortable.
Yes, just going back
Mm-hmm.
out and like going to the gym again is kind of like, okay, it's safe. I'm okay. So I think it's the whole process. I think it's going to take a couple years. It's not going to be an overnight thing. I know everybody, we keep talking about it's going to go back to be normal and stuff like that. I don't even know what's normal anymore. Just happy to be
Right.
here and be healthy. And
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that for, again, so many reasons. I second that. We do have to acknowledge that, number one, again, if you're human, then this probably is, it's a really intentional space for healing. Like there's a lot of conversations that perhaps they've been happening over the years, but now they've taken precedence, and everybody's putting it all on the table if they're ready to do so. But as a result of those conversations happening, it's inviting others to safely, talk about what they're going through. I too love that therapy is a thing now. And the only thing that I would encourage, just being a lover of both philosophy and psychology, is that, when we're talking about, having access to therapy, we have to look beyond that and say, okay, so quality therapy starts with you owning your accountability for your healing, right? So I actually want to heal, and I know that this therapy is not the beginning and end, but it's a step there, right? But again, there's so much that's contingent upon being literal, and having the wherewithal to actually gauge, okay, this is just the beginning for me. Like I have to see this through, and I have to not beat myself up, and like understanding that there are so many intelligences at play, emotional, physical, all of these intelligences that go into, what it means to be whole, healthy, happy. So it's definitely an ongoing conversation.
Yes.
But it's also, practical, tried and true methods from people in the form of stories that are like, hey, I tackled my depression like this. I did this and I was able to come out. No pressure, no insisting, not to say anything else about anybody else, but just really making it like, hey, we're all here learning. That's what we're all here to do,
Yes.
We do that together. And when we do that together with unity consciousness at the center, we all come out better people, better humans. So I love that. I love that. I mean, just in your background with psychology, it's like, yeah, we're seeing, the effects of how it plays off for children. It's like, well, yeah, because you're not learning at home. And you can tell your father was, like learning starts at home. Because, I would imagine that he was the inspiration for a character in, Training Wheels.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, because he was reading the newspaper, like he was, he's informed, he's intelligent, and he's like, oh, okay, you think you want to do that, huh? So again, it's exuded there, right? And you grew up with that. But I think, when we're having these conversations about, systemic racism and all these other things that we are struggling with now, we have to also give attention to the side of those who didn't come up in households where, like you said, learning was like expected, and again, it's not the point, like you said, pointing the fingers. It's an all hands on deck, approach.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And that's my goal with writing the books too, because yes, someone may not have that opportunity, but I'm trying to share that opportunity. And like getting back to something you said earlier about counseling and stuff like that, is about most of the time, if someone is forced to do something, they're not going to want to do it, and then
Right.
they're not going to get the impact that they need out of it. But it's exciting when people are open to it. So yes, that's the goal with writing as well. It's to enlighten and just to make
Yeah.
it available. So if someone don't have the opportunity, they can see the opportunity, or they can see the interaction. And
Yeah.
that's why the thing. Another reason why I wrote Sister Going to Training was to show positive family dynamics, because somebody, may have not known their dad, but just to see a girl and a dad. And like even you bringing that up made me think of, I did a live maybe a few years ago. It made me think of a guy I was working then, and I mean I had to do the live in the car, so I had to on my lunch break. But it made me think about just getting feedback from the book, and the feedback, the since I only had dad in the beginning of the first book, the the interviewer asked me, was dad a single dad? And I was like, you know what? I never thought about it from that perspective.
Me
Because
neither.
I wrote it from my perspective, but that was her perspective. But I was like, dad wasn't a single dad, but that's an encouraging thing too. Say if a child was living in a home where dad was their only parent with them, that's a good book for them. So you never know how different people's perspective will
The
relate to.
interpretation.
Yes, the
Yeah.
interpretation. You
See,
never
I'm
know.
I'm with
So
you. I didn't think a dad was saying, but again, I know that's because I was raised with my with two-parent household.
yeah,
So it's those biases and the need for this, constant conversation that helps us. I'm like, wait, that is a thing that's happening a lot now. You
and it's
know,
okay, and
it
that's what's so cool
is.
about. Yes, it's okay because really love. We just need the child to feel loved and
Period.
to have a family, and family is what you create. So I was just so excited. It was interesting for me because I never saw that perspective, but I was excited that she could take it from that perspective, and it had a positive impact. So yeah.
Totally, totally. I mean, now now you're making me want to go back and be like, maybe I should create a different lesson, which I intend to. I got to get the coloring book. I got to get the second book. And when is the third book coming out?
Well, I'm trying to have it out by the end of the year. I haven't totally set a date. I'm working with my illustrator. I have edited the book down, so it's been edited for a while now, and I'm waiting on her to finish the illustrations for me. Funny thing, I have a couple samples today. I had the coloring book with me, so this is the inspirational coloring book, and this one is just I wanted to show Sister Girl like doing different things.
Yeah.
So she's reading, and then this is like an empowerment. So I can be an aviator like Betsy Coleman. So it shows Sister Girl
Yes.
doing different things. So it's a inspirational book, and I have a couple more. So I'll share one more with you.
Yeah, please.
And then I like this one. I could be a principal ballerina like Misty Copeland. So this is
Wow.
Sister Girl being a ballerina.
That is
So
so
that
awesome. Okay, see stuff like that. See, that's what I'm saying. This is why I relate to kids more than adults. I'll be colored that whole book and framed every single one of them. They be all over my wall.
look, I can't say anything about you coloring the coloring book because last year when I was home doing COVID, I was like, you know what? I should color a couple of these pages. So I colored a couple of the pages. I probably shared it on Instagram, but this is something I would thought it would be fun. Like right here, I'll show you one more.
Oh my
Is I
gosh.
can be an engineer, physician, and NASA astronaut like maybe
Maybe
Jemison.
Jameson, yeah.
So it's like that's my goal is to teach children lessons, but in a fun manner. So then
Totally.
they're learning. They're learning something about science. They're learning about women in STEM. They're learning and they didn't even realize it. That's the whole goal. It's not about just you need to know this. It's about they're learning because you're not sure everything they're learning in school at all times, but we can teach them in different ways. And this is Sister Girl in a New Dress.
So I
So
remember seeing the announcement that it was coming out, but I haven't had a
uh-huh.
chance to read. I can't wait to get both of them. I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to do it this week.
Yes, it's in this one, Sister Girl, just like in Sister Girl in the Trainer, was I have all the books today with me. I just decided I had them with me, so I was like, I'll show the Sister Girl in the
Please.
Trainer, which she learns how to ride a bike with her dad, and in this one, Sister Girl in the New Dress, she wants to have a new dress for her awards there at the end of the school year. So
Nice.
mom takes her through the whole process of picking up fabric and everything, and they creates a dress at the end. I'll show you the dress. It's cool.
Please do, because I love to sew. And again, when we talk about the absence of home ec and some of these other classes in school, again, the learning starts at home. I love that. Oh my gosh, look at that dress.
Yeah, it's funny because I would think, when I was writing a book, I didn't think about home ec. I'm gonna tell you. So my inspiration, I'll tell you this before we got to go. My
Yeah.
inspiration for the training wheels was my dad actually taught me how to ride a bike as a kid,
Yeah.
and that was one of the things I really wanted to do. And it was so funny. Also, my dad passed in 2016 of cancer, so
Oh,
I was not. It was 14. I that I guess the gift was I had to go inward and
totally.
find my inspiration. And so that's what pushed me to write the first book. And then Sister Girl, this one right here, I was like, okay, Sister Girl in a New Dress actually comes from an inspiration from my mom. As a kid, my mom used to sew all the time.
Totally.
And when we needed a new church dress, and if there was a banquet or something, mommy was sewing a dress. So I was like, both of my first two books was just paying homage to my parents, but I felt like it's stories that kids will find understanding and teaching them to be creative and believe in themselves. So
Yeah. No, you nailed it. And congratulations to you on everything that you been doing, continue to do, because again, it's very important, not just from, okay, I'm gonna write some books and put these books out, but from the perspective of, okay, I want you to see yourself being creative, being resourceful,
mm-hmm.
In healthy family environments, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just see yourself, you really can do whatever you want to do. Like, I love that. And I just want to wish you the very best beyond. And of course, thank you for joining me today. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
joining me today. So I am so grateful again that Nicole has joined us. Stay tuned. I will be posting the interview on our YouTube channel just for those to watch, if they weren't able to join us live. And I think I'm gonna, like I said, go back and get my sister girl on her training wheels. I think I'm gonna revamp the activities and make them available, because that's part of what we're doing upcoming. It's everything that I've already done in the classroom. It's already there,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
It's just I never put it out online because it's something about me just putting it out there and not knowing if kids get it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm struggling with it. Last month, Gladys, and then the month before, Graciela and I, we just talked about, like, yeah, I've been creating stuff with your books for years. So I'm ruminating on how I want to release some of the things that I have done. Yeah,
Yes.
but I'm
And
gonna do that.
just start releasing them and let me know when you're releasing them. Maybe we can talk again about what you're releasing. That'd be fun.
Yes,
And
yes,
cause we just have to support each other. The whole thing's about supporting. Like, if I
all day,
to support you with it, then it's fine. I want to share my Instagram, that if anyone can follow me
please.
at Sister Girl Collection.
Sister Girl Collection. Follow Nicole and the Sister Girl Adventures. And I should know this by heart. Sister Girl Collection. Is
Yeah,
it the Sister Girl Collection or Sister Girl Collection?
at Sister Girl Collection. That's my Instagram.
Okay. So yeah, let's put that there right now as we close out. Is that it?
Yes, yes. Thank
Awesome.
you so
So
much.
yes, please follow her, because she does post not just again about the book, but a lot of other inspiration. And now that I know I got a coloring book waiting for me, I'm like, let me go to the dollar store, get these 8x10 frames. I'm telling you, they're gonna be,
Oh,
because really, I have so many authors and illustrators that when I tell you that I enjoy their work, Chandra Strickland, Robert Trujillo, I mean, the list is just so long that
mm-hmm.
with my new studio, I really do want to just have like an overwhelming amount of like illustrations everywhere,
That's powerful. That's very
Yeah,
powerful.
because it's art changes you, So I'm like, oh, I could color those and frame those. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Well, again, my dear, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to post this, and of course, I'll tag you. To everybody who's joined us, I hope you learned something or saw something from a different perspective, and you're encouraged to support the Sister Girl Collection. Make sure you follow Nicole and all the Sister Girls adventures on IG. You're on Facebook too, because I'm in a couple of the groups that you just invited me to. You're on Facebook, right?
Yes, the Sister Girl Collection on Facebook.
On Facebook, awesome. And then, of course, visiting the website at sistergirlcollection.com. Good deal.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. I really do.
You are more than welcome. That's what we're, like you said, that's what we're doing. Like, if we're not doing that, we ain't doing nothing. I'm just saying.
Thank you, Tiffany, so much.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful Sunday evening.
You too.
All righty, my dear. Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.